The little jazz towns. Many people have contributed to the crafting, development, and legacy of jazz music in the townships of the Eastern Cape. In the 1950s and 1960s, choral singing and jazz bands popularized Grahamstown and Queenstown such that each was known as the Little Jazz Town. Queenstown-born pianist Todd Machekiza was the opera director, musical director of the King Kong Opera. His annotated scores are now held at Rhodes University, Corrie Library. The stories of many Eastern Cape musicians remain untold. Their music is yet to be transcribed for dissemination, analytical, and educational purposes. It is evident that a large cohort of jazz musicians who contributed to the Little Jazz Towns have not heard their music heard to the extent that one could add more substance to the notion of the Little Jazz Towns. The situation is compounded by musicians who have very little knowledge about issues of copyright and intellectual property. The arrival of the COVID pandemic has exposed and emphasized the dire situation with which rural Eastern Cape musicians have to contend. This is exacerbated by the lack of performances and no income. The proposed PhD research will seek out musicians in Queenstown, King Williamstown, and afford them the opportunity to retell their stories and describe their music. This research follows the initiative by the National Arts Council, NAC, and the International Library of African Music, ILAM, based at Rhodes University, to retrieve, archive, and record